Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the It's Called Soccer YouTube channel. I'm Nathan Fry, and today I wanted to talk about the upcoming camps that the USMNT has and some of the prospects I would like to see in those camps. I'm not going to talk about the Nations League because obviously I want my best. We want the best players at the Nations League. The Gold Cup's a different in my opinion. You can maybe do half and half. Like you could bring half of your starters and then half of some youth you want to see to develop and grow them. In my opinion, that's what I would do. I bring half and half, but whoever our coach at the time will make that decision. So I want to bring up here the camps. We have an October camp against Ecuador and Australia, two good opponents. We can bring our starting 11, which I wouldn't. We could bring the same roster as the World Cup if we really wanted to. I don't think we should do that. We have a December camp, Camp Cupcake, as it is called, and then we have the Gold Cup camp. Personally, I would for these camps, the October and the December camp, I would bring prospects only. We're in the first year of a World Cup cycle. The World Cup just ended, but we're back in the World Cup cycle. I would say this first year or half a year, we should probably be bringing prospects, especially at certain positions like center back, goalkeeper. I will bring a few forwards, strikers to test out our depth. I'll bring some wingers to test out our depth, especially with Christian Pulisic, and he keeps getting injured. With how Tim Weah performed at this World Cup, wasn't the greatest. I know we still have like Alexander Zendejas and some other people like that, but I would bring some prospects to see, what if they can become depth instead of some of the players that we have. I think we also need to test out our fullback depth, and then our midfield is pretty strong, I would say. But we could still test out some depth there, and there definitely could be some changes by next World Cup to that midfield into every position realistically. Let me bring up here my Google Doc. Let's go back to the top. For me, these are the top three at every position that I would have an eye on. Before we get into this, I would say that there is value in bringing some players back. Like I wouldn't be against bringing someone like Pepe or Haji or even Ballo to teach the forwards. I wouldn't be against like Tillman or Adams coming in for that midfield. I wouldn't say Adams because he has that history of being injured, unless he's just going to come help teach the players. I wouldn't bring him in. I'll bring someone like Tillman, maybe someone like Johnny. Johnny hasn't been in camp for a while. He knows the system a little bit. I would bring him back in and start incorporating him back into the system because I think Johnny can easily be, a starter for us at the next World Cup and even in the next year or two. I think he should have been at this World Cup. I think he got injured, but if he didn't, then that was just a mistake. I think he got injured, though. For the goalkeepers, obviously Diego Cochin. I will also say Lenore Prescott, and Julian Eystone. I would say Diego Cochin is probably the number one option for us as a prospect. I'm pretty sure he went through the Barcelona academy and then played with the Barcelona first team this year, and they have loaned him out to his new club, Lyngby, in I think it's the Danish league. I think that that's a good move for him. I think that could really help him develop, and I feel there's a reason Barcelona isn't selling him just yet. I feel they might have some hope in him, and hopefully they do. And if Barcelona has hope in a keeper, American keeper, I think we should too, because obviously if we have a keeper playing at Barcelona, that would most likely be our starter if he's starting there. Right backs, we have Christian McFarland from New York City FC. We have Oscar Verhoeven from San Jose, and then Aiden Heringer, sorry if I messed that up, from Eintracht Frankfurt in the German league. These are mine. These are my personal opinions for youth that should be called up. If you disagree, you disagree. I would like to see one or two of these guys get an opportunity. Um, but we also do still have young players. You could consider Freeman a right back still. Depends who you're talking to. I know a lot of people want to see him as a center back, including myself, but we'll see what he does at Villarreal and what the club decides to do with him. Because if they keep him at a right back, then the only way I think he continues to play center back for the United States is if we keep that right center back position, in that back five or the back three, however you want to see it. If we don't keep that back three, I think he'll be competing with Serginho Dest on that right side, or it just comes down to what you want. I think Alex Freeman will end up being a better defender than Serginho Dest. So if we need a more defensive player, then we bring on Alex Freeman. If we want to attack, Destino on the edge, combining with Pulisic or whoever's on his side. For left back, I would bring Peyton Miller from the New England Revolution, Landon Elamona, no clue how to say that name, and Prince Forfor. I would say, not all of these guys need to be called in. I think there's only, a few. I personally think that you should incorporate prospects with people that have been playing so they can help each other learn the system and things like that. So I would say and you only have 26 spots. You have three goalkeepers, and then however else you want to break down that lineup. I would like to see out of the right backs and left backs, out of your fullbacks position, I would like to see 2 or 3 of these guys here. Personally, I think my main prospect is Peyton Miller from New England Revolution, but that's just me. I also haven't done too much research, so I would not trust what I'm saying too much. I would go with the experts because I'm definitely not an expert. Center backs, Noah Kai Banks. I have him here because he's a U20 prospect. I don't know if I want to see him. I have him there because he's our highest ceiling center back prospect at the moment to me. He's high ceiling, and I think that he has great potential. But he has to pick the United States, and he declined a World Cup at home for the United States. So I don't know if he'll choose the United States, and even if he does, I don't know if I really want him to play too much. Niel Pereira, I think I said that right. Niel Pereira, something like that, for Philadelphia Union. He, if I'm not mistaken, is pretty tall, pretty big. He has a big body. I'll bring him in over Noah Kai Banks, even though Noah Kai Banks even wants to come. And then there's Tyler Misher from Borussia Mönchengladbach. He's at a decent club, in the German league, and it would be cool to see. I would say both Niel Pereira and then Tyler to be called up as center backs, and maybe bring in Austin Trusty again. I know there's someone like Cole Campbell out there. I don't think he'll start for us, but we need to evaluate options because at the moment we don't have center backs. We have freaking Miles Robinson, his shitty ass. Anyways, there's there might be some dual nats in here that may or may not be eligible for the United States. I'm not too sure. For my sixes, I have 2. I just seen that I made a mistake and put Obed Vargas on there, and he's not eligible for the United States. I'm pretty sure. I think he's cap tied to Mexico. But what's it called? I feel like 2 is fine because we have Johnny, who's pretty young, and I know we might play 2 6s at some point, but I can't imagine we will because of the talent that we have at the 8 and 10 position anyways. So I would say, call. I feel this Nathan kid from Colorado might be a little too young. 2010, that's 16, maybe. That might be a little too young. He's somebody for the future though. I would take a look at him, and then Pedro Soma, I would definitely call him up this next camp. I think you bring him in with Johnny, and I think that would be a good pairing. And they can both split the minutes. I think for this next camp, and then for Camp Cupcake, you can do whatever you want. I don't care. MLS players maybe because that's what they tend to do. Um, for the eights, I don't know too much about any of these three. Someone that's way more knowledgeable on youth squads and youth players would be Pete at 11 Yanks. Go watch him. He has way more insight. And especially because I'm just starting this, I don't have a lot of insight, but I'm trying my best. I don't know much about these eights. But if I were to call up some prospects, these would definitely be the prospects I would call up. I would bring up uh, I don't know how to say this guy's name. Uh, but the '06 from Columbus Crew, just because he's a little older. Um, I think the '10 and the '09, maybe not this cycle, or not this cycle, but not this year. Maybe I think you gotta wait. Uh, just because I don't think we need to rush talent at all. I feel we might not have the especially in the midfielder area for us. We have great talent there, so we don't need to rush development there. Um, for the tens, obviously we got Kevin Sullivan. I think he'll be the first option to get called up. Uh, I would let him develop another year, but before you start considering him for any serious minutes for the national team. Uh, but I think he should be called up and he should be uh, available to start learning this system because he does have a lot of potential in his future. Um, there's Axel Perez from Lyon, and then CJ Olney from the Philadelphia Union. Um, I would bring up all three of these midfielders, especially because we don't. Besides Gio Reyna, and then you could say Malik Tillman, but I feel like Tillman. I mean, Tillman's both. I would bring all these tens in um, to see like if we could get a true 10. I don't think we'll ever play with the true 10 for a while, but we need to see how these guys can work in either the double pivot or the main midfielder because you either one of these guys either takes Weston's or Malik's position. I think Tyler Adams is more the CDMs, the prospects for them. So I would say that you want to bring these cats so they can learn the midfield that we produce. Or I don't know the right word for that, but yeah. And then we're gonna into the wingers here. Matisse Albert from Borussia Dortmund. He's supposed to be with the first team this year, and if he is, call him up. We have a good history with Dortmund players, Pulisic and Reyna. No matter your opinion on Reyna, he plays decent for the national team, and he's a solid player. I think for us, so I think you should give Albert some minutes for sure this next camp. Xavier Gozo, he's from what I've heard. I've never genuinely watched him, but from what I've heard, he's a good player, and he should be called up to the next camp, in my opinion. Uh, Liam West from FC Copenhagen, he should be called up again, in my opinion. You have a multitude of winger spots, and even if you want to bring someone back like Alexander Zendejas, or you consider I don't know what you consider Max Arston. I don't know what you consider him. If you consider him a winger, you could bring him back in. Um, but yeah, besides those two, I wouldn't be too soon to call the others back in. I would give them a little bit. And then forwards, I don't know too much about Malik and Jamel, but I know a little bit more about Julian Hall. I would bring him in for sure. Young prospect. '08, same year I was born. So he's turning 18, or he is 18. Uh, he should probably get a move out of MLS soon. I don't know where. I don't even know if he's linked. I don't like our players staying in MLS. That's a different conversation to have on a different day. Um, but I would say that he'd be good to call in and pair him with somebody. I think Haji Wright. I think Patrick Argumon will get called back in again. I don't think Argumon like he isn't horrible, but he ain't good either. He has the body, he has everything to be a good player, except being a good player. So that's a him problem though. Uh, so you might get someone like Argumon back called in, Haji back. What other strikers do we have? I literally don't know. Jesus Fiera? Nah, I'm kidding. But I would bring someone like Pepe back in to get him minutes and to pair the two. Um, like I said, I think that there should be people that have experience and don't have experience on the teams for the next half a year or until at least for I think it was October and December because September I believe is or it's either October or September is Nations League, which I bring the first team squad, and then the semifinals and the final in March. You could bring some of these prospects, especially if they impress, but I wouldn't overload the squad at the Nations League or yeah, just the Nations League. I wouldn't overload the squad there with youth players. I would bring our actual players. The Gold Cup's different. I would like to see some of these guys at the Gold Cup, especially someone like Julian Hall, Kevin Sullivan, Gozo, Albert. The goalkeepers, the only goalkeeper I would keep in the cycle is Chris Brady. That's the only guy because he's young and he has a potential. I wouldn't bring in Matt Turner or Matt Freeze again if that's possible. If we can find somebody to replace them, if we can't, then we can't. But I would hopefully try to find someone to replace them. Besides that, this is my opinion who I would bring top 3 prospects at every position for the next 2 camps for the United States. I would bring these guys. Other people are going to have different opinions. Other people, might agree. But for me, this is my opinions. And yeah, thank you guys for watching.